Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to Open Mic here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. You know, Monday through Friday on the John Campea Show, we save a little bit of time for some live questions, but here on Open Mic, that's all we do is take live questions. And right off the bat, I want to let you guys know about some programming stuff that we have coming up. First of all, I'm going to let you know that today, what day is today? Today is Sunday, right? Is today Sunday? I think, no, today's Saturday. Man, my head gets all messed up. So tomorrow on Sunday is going to be the last time that we do open mic on the weekends. I've just had a lot of you guys telling me, and I've had my own wife telling me that I need to stop doing live shows 7 days a week. I need to take a bit of a break. So open mic will be today, obviously, because we're doing open mic right now, and we're going to have open mic tomorrow morning on Sunday, but that will be it for open mics on the weekends. Now, still going to do some videos on the weekends, some pre-recorded videos. We're still going to do like special spoiler discussion, things like this Sunday, tomorrow. We've got our, don't forget, we got our Deadpool 2 live spoiler discussion video at 2 p.m. That's going to be with me and Ann, because we had so much fun doing it with the Avengers Infinity War stuff. We're going to do it with that as well. And then next Sunday, of course, is going to be the live spoiler discussion for Solo. And then the following Sunday, we've got Movie Club. So to do all these kind of extra videos, I thought, you know what, I got to make way for some other things. So we're going to stop doing open mic on the weekends after tomorrow. So tomorrow there's an open mic in the morning. After that, no more open mics on the weekend. So just want to get you guys caught up on all that moving forward. Then, of course, Monday through Friday with the John Campea Show at 8:30 in the morning, open mic at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, plus any special videos that we do along the way as well. Okay, now that we're all caught up on that, you guys have been sending a whole ton of live questions already today, so let's jump to it. And the first live question today comes to us from Caleb Bradford, who writes, did you hear about David LaBrava's son committing suicide? Very tragic. The kid was only 16. No, I had not heard about that. David LaBrava, that's the dude from Sons of Anarchy, right? Yeah, I think that's the actor who was actually a member of Hell's Angels at the same time. No, I hadn't heard about that. I mean, obviously, the death of a kid is always sad. The death of anybody by suicide is always sad. It's especially sad when it's a kid committing suicide. I mean, that's terrible to hear. So no, I had not heard about that, but that is absolutely tragic. Daryl Best Wadley writes, I'm so disappointed in Flash this year. One more episode to go, and I really don't care how they're going to stop DeVoe. He was never intimidating. I just did not dig the DeVoe character this year. The DeVoe character as a villain, which is really too bad because the actor is great. And the actor, when he's himself I mean, there's a suaveness to him. I always like a sophistication of my villains. And the way the actor has played the character has been great. I mean, I've loved the way he's played the character, absolutely. But it's just the character himself, the writing of the character. Like, I'm sorry, but there was a million times this season that he could have just killed Flash and everybody else just like that. I'm like, wait a second, if he's so concerned about Flash stopping, why didn't he just kill him here? I understand early on there's a few things he needed Flash to do, but there have been so many times this season that he could have just killed Flash and everybody else and just hasn't. As Deadpool would say, that's just lazy writing. Yeah, now, don't get me wrong, there have been a couple of episodes. There have been a couple of episodes this season that have been very, very good. But unfortunately, I feel like this season, those have been outweighed by the bad ones. Like, there are some people who didn't like last season. I did like last season. But this season, not so much. Yeah, I can't wait for them to be past this whole DeVoe storyline and moving on to a new villain, whatever it's going to be next season. But I'm ready for them to move past DeVoe. Let's see. Manuel Fernandez writes, I know it's a movie channel, but I would still like to send thoughts and prayers to Santa Fe victims and families. No one should have to go to school knowing stuff like this happens. Yeah, I mean, how do you even begin to respond to stuff like this, right? I mean, the school shootings, look, you guys, I'll talk politics and some things like that on my personal channels. I try to keep politics off of my YouTube channel because we're all movie fans. It doesn't matter what our political leaning is. We're all movie fans, and I try to keep it at that. But do let me say one thing, because I think there are some people who lean right that would also be bothered by this thing that bothered me. I believe there's probably a good number of people out there who lean right politically that would agree with me on this. And that's this. I remember watching, I always, when something like this happens, I go around the news commentary sites and I just hear people's opinions, what they're talking about. And I find it so sad watching some political commentators when something like this happens and you realize, you know, to this person, the two-word phrase gun reform is a far more concerning, a far more difficult, a far more heavy phrase. Like the two-word phrase gun control or gun reform to this particular person is a far more devastating phrase than the two-word phrase dead kid. And there's just some commentators you can find out there that that's all they wanted to just, and that blows my mind. And I'm sure, and I know for a fact, because I've seen some right-leaning political commentary bashing that as well. But it's just, it is so sad. It's so sad. And again, I'm not going to get into a huge political discussion here. We're here to talk about movies. But yes, absolutely, it's a terrible tragedy. Whenever something like this happens, it just boggles the mind because we try to rationalize it and wrap our heads around it, and we just can't. And it's a horrible thing. And I'm not going to begin to try to offer the solutions here because what do I know? All right, next up, Everett Bichara writes, best opening and mid-credit scene goes to Deadpool 2. Yeah. So the opening, okay, first of all, the first Deadpool, if you haven't seen Deadpool 2 yet, don't worry, I'm not spoiling anything here, but I never thought that opening credits could ever top the first Deadpool movie. Like, I never thought any movie ever could top the opening credits of the first Deadpool movie. Deadpool 2 tops the opening credits of the first Deadpool movie. Or at least comes very, very, very close. And of course, the end credit scene, we've been talking all week about the end credit scene to Deadpool 2, which is like the best end credits, mid-roll credits, whatever you want to call them, scene in film history. I'm actually going to go see Deadpool again this afternoon. Me and Ray and Ann and a friend of mine, Matt, we're going to go see Deadpool 2 again because I just got to watch it again. Plus, Anne wanted to see it again before we do our spoiler discussion tomorrow afternoon, so she wanted to see it for a second time, and I want to see it for a third time, so we're going to do that today. Orange Hand writes, I've heard Bullseye is in Daredevil Season 3. Thoughts? I have not heard that. I haven't heard anything contradictory to that either. I'm just saying I haven't heard that yet myself. I will say this. That's fine. It doesn't matter what villain they bring in. It makes no difference. It's completely irrelevant. It all depends on do they write that villain well. It's all that matters. But I will say this. I frickin' loved Colin Farrell's Bullseye in Ben Affleck's Daredevil movie. I know a lot of people love to trash on that Daredevil movie, and that's fine. I love that movie. Seriously, you take out that god-awful, can never erase it out of my mind, teeter-totter scene in the first Daredevil film. That Daredevil film might be in my top 15 favorite comic book movies of all time. If you take out that teeter-totter scene, that Ben Affleck Daredevil film, I don't care what anybody else says, it's my opinion. I love that Daredevil movie. And yes, that teeter-totter scene is so stretched out and so bad and so awful, it knocks it down several levels, no doubt. But I'm just saying, and one of my favorite things in that movie was Colin Farrell as Bullseye. I thought he was awesome. He made me miss. I love him in that, and I love the character in that. And go ahead, bash away. I don't care. I love that Daredevil movie. Not my top 15 or anything like that of all time, but if you take out that teeter-totter scene, it might be. All right. Josh Crichton writes, if you could be a type of wing sauce, what? If you could be a type of wing sauce, what would it be? For me, it would be Cajun because it has some spicy, and that's how I am with the late. Well, I don't know. I will say this, though. All my friends who know me know that I have, Anne refers to it as a vagina mouth. I have a vagina mouth. I cannot handle any kind of spicy at all. So like, even when I order wings, I can't even handle mild. Honestly, I don't even put mild on it. It's got to be either a sweet barbecue or a teriyaki or dry. And I'll just dip it in ranch or something like that. Like, I like my chicken wings, but I can't even have the slightest bit of spice. I am terrible with spice. I cannot handle spicy food at all, which is weird because I'm Italian and Italians can handle their spicy food. I cannot. So yeah, I think I've always been a little bit of an embarrassment to my father on that way. I don't think he still really learned how to come to grips with that. I think my dad would have had an easier time finding out, because you know the stereotype is, you know, that when parents find out their kids are gay, it can be a struggle. Some parents handle it great, some don't. I think my dad honestly would have had an easier time dealing with finding out I was gay than finding out that I can't handle spicy food. I really do. I think he might have had an easier time with that. Anyway, okay. Devontae Brown writes, Shield finale. Wow, can't believe you hate this show. Well, because the show sucks. I mean, it's because the show sucks. Now, I haven't seen the finale yet. Maybe the finale's good. And they do some episodes that are quite good. And if you like it, that's great. That's awesome if you like it. I think the show's terrible. Then, John, why do you keep watching it? Because I am a sucker for comic book content. I watch it. Even when I hated Arrow, in the seasons that I hate Arrow, I just kept watching it, just keep wanting it to get good. I keep watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because I'm a sucker for that content, and I love Clark Gregg, and I love Clark Gregg in the role of Agent Coulson. And you know what? This season has had its moments. This season has had its moments. There was that one episode they did this year. Was it their 100th episode? Might have been the 100th episode one, but whatever. That I actually thought was really good. I thought it was quite good. Now, again, I haven't seen the season finale yet. I don't know if it aired yesterday or when it aired, so I haven't seen the season finale yet, and maybe I'll like the season finale. But, you know, I'll give the devil its due. The show has its moments for me. It does. I still don't like it. I still think it's a pretty sloppy show. I still think it's a show that feels way too, I feel like they're winging it way too much, but hey, that's me. The show has its fans, and I love that you love it. That's great that you love it. It's, you know, unfortunately, it's just never really worked for me. Zizu writes, will you stop reviewing Star Wars movies too, or just turn off comments for those videos? Don't let those miserable a-holes win. They aren't fans. No, I'm still going to review Star Wars movies. I will. I probably will keep comments turned off on them. Because I want nothing to do with that whole community anymore. I want nothing to do with them. That whole thing's just dead to me. But I still love Star Wars, and I'm still going to review the movies. But yeah, probably I'm not looking for any dialogue with anybody about it, because there's just too many people in the Star Wars fan community now that have shown themselves to just be venomous, toxic cancers, and I just don't want any interaction with them anymore. So yeah, they kind of killed that for me, but I will still review the movies because they're movies and I enjoy the movies. And, you know, obviously I don't like everything Star Wars, obviously, but I'm still going to review the movies for sure. Josh writes, of these two songs from superhero movies, which ones would you sing at an open mic? Kiss from the Rose from Batman Forever, or Hero from Spider-Man? Probably Hero, because Hero would be a much easier song to sing. Anything by Seal is tough to sing and make sound right. So probably be Hero. You just got to get a little bit of growl into the voice and you're good. So probably, I'm not saying that's the better song. Kiss from the Rose is the better song, but Hero's the easier one to sing. So that's probably the one I would go for. Let's see. Manuel Fernandez writes, which is better in terms of story? Which is better in terms of story? Characters, which is better in terms of story? Characters, world building, visuals, The Last of Us, or God of War? Both stories focus on father-child relationships. Yeah, I wouldn't say that's so much with Last of Us. You can certainly say that's an implied thing. That's more of a God of War thing, really. Gosh. I'm going to go God of War. Yeah. I mean, and don't take that as any kind of a knock on Last of Us. If you've seen my review of Last of Us, you know I love that story. It's fantastic, but I'm going to go God of War. I was so thoroughly entrenched in the God of War story, especially because Last of Us, like many video games, deviates from their main story a number of times to do these little side missions that aren't necessarily really connected. But John, it is kind of connected because they had to do this in order to... Yeah, I get that. But it's still a little bit of a deviation. And nothing wrong with that. But God of War, one of the things that I loved most about it, and if you watched my story review of it, you'll see you mention this, is that God of War, like everything they did in that movie kept them on their straight line to the point of the story. It kept them on narrative. You could jump in at any moment of God of War and they are on narrative. They're on their direct main narrative storyline. And there was something about that was so impressive that I liked so much. So I'm going to lean, ever so slightly, I'm going to lean towards God of War on that. Josh writes, John, I recommend you check out a band called Ghost. They released a new single called Dance Macabre. It makes me want to dance with the dead. I'm not a huge into I mean, I listen to a lot of music, but I don't follow the music scene so much. So I'll keep my ears open for it and see if it comes across my plate. Caleb Bradford writes, I know you don't think many musicians' lives are interesting, but did you like the trailer for Bohemian Rhapsody? Freddie Mercury wasn't interesting in my opinion. Well, see, I love the trailer for Bohemian Rhapsody, but forget that it was even a biopic. Like, to me, and I mentioned this on the show the other day, the first trailer for Bohemian Rhapsody was pretty much a perfect first trailer. If it was like the second or third trailer, it would be mediocre. But as a first trailer, it doesn't let you know anything about the story. It doesn't tell you anything. There's hardly any dialogue in the trailer at all. It's all just musical montages, and it kind of gives you this sense of what the energy of the film is. For a first teaser trailer, it was pretty much perfect. It did exactly what a first teaser trailer should do. So it looks pretty interesting that way. So yeah, I'm curious. If almost for anything else, I'm as curious about this film because of the behind the scenes drama, like with them switching directors and all that kind of nonsense that went on. I'm very curious to see this dude play Freddie Mercury. So I'm very curious to see the movie. I am quite curious. Zizu writes, have you seen the openings for Vegas versus Jets NHL in Las Vegas? They put on a great show. I absolutely love it. So epic. Too bad the Jets are losing 3-1. No, I have. You know what? I've watched a bunch of the series, but I've never been there for the beginning of the game. So I've not seen the openings. But more and more NHL teams have been putting more and more dramatics. They've been borrowing this a little bit from the NBA, because the NBA has done this for really well for a while, but more and more the NHL has been putting more and more emphasis and more effort into the dramatics of the opening of the games. Almost like cinematic, some people would say, like basically cinematic in many ways. So I'm not surprised to hear that, but now I'm going to have to jump on YouTube and see if I can find those openings. Who would have thought, by the way, that the Las Vegas Knights would be this close to making it to the Stanley Cup final? An expansion team. An expansion team. Never happened in history. Probably will never happen in history again. But I mean, you make a movie. If they go on to the Stanley Cup finals, you make a movie about this. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. A team that was made up of all the throwaways from the other teams. That's what the expansion is. You get this expansion draft where when you start a brand new team in a league, you basically get the throwaway players from all the other teams and you put your team together. And this is the team that's maybe is close to going to the Stanley Cup finals. It's insane. You got to make a movie about that. I mean, that's crazy. A bunch of people that everybody else discarded, a bunch of guys that were the complete definition of the underdogs. They pull off an incredible season, have an amazing run in the postseason, and if they go to the finals, oh my God, you got to make a movie about this. It's just incredible. A team made up of players that nobody else wanted, and they're about to go to the finals. It's crazy. Zobatron writes, have you seen those Deadpool DVD covers? He parodies Castaway, X-Men, Terminator, etc. Message you on Facebook a few. I bought XD, best marketing ever. Yeah, we talked about that on the show the other day. Somebody else brought that up. You know, let me see here. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find... let me see if I can find the images we're talking about here. Okay, I think I may have found them here. Hold on a second. Okay, yeah, so these... Oh, damn it. Is it not going to let me get it? Hold on a second. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. It's not going to let me pull them, I don't think. Hold on a second. Maybe it will. Sorry for the delay, guys. I'll see if I can pull this in here. I might be able to pull it in. Yeah, here we go. All right, so basically, and let me see if I can boost up the size of these things. So for those of you guys who haven't seen these, and I've had a bunch of people writing me about them and sending me these pictures, but what they did was, and I think it was in Walmart that they did this. I think it was in Walmart that they did this, where they took a bunch of other movies and they put Deadpool into them. So like, I love the Logan one where you got the baby Deadpool hand holding Logan's hand. Just a whole bunch of really, I like the Office Space one. I love the Castaway ones, War for the Planet of the Apes. Fight Club is great. I mean, it looks great. I mean, I think it was really, really creative. And in a business where it's becoming more and more difficult to do something that's new or original in your marketing, this is some pretty damn new and original stuff. And I really like what they're doing there. All right, let's move on here. The number Thor writes, do you think Solo could beat Rogue One at the box office? I don't know. I mean, the thing, look, I've said many, many times, I just don't see Solo joining the $1 billion club. I just don't see it happen. And it doesn't need to. I mean, if it can make $700 to $800 million, huge win. A movie that nobody asked for, a movie that, you know, coming off The Last Jedi with you know, there was a good chunk of people that didn't like The Last Jedi, all that kind of stuff. This is a movie that you should never expect to make $1 billion. I don't care if the term Star Wars is on it or not. You know, Ant-Man comes out and has the Marvel label on it, but still makes $500-600 million. That's a good day. I think, you know, you do a Solo movie without Harrison Ford, I don't think it needs to make $1 billion. So I don't see it hitting $1 billion. If it does make $1 billion, that's nuts. That would be 4 films in a row that Star Wars puts out that all cross $1 billion. Never been done before, will never be done again. If that happens. But I just don't see it. Rogue One did cross the $1 billion mark. I don't see Solo crossing the $1 billion mark, nor does it need to. Nor does any film need to, unless, like, the name of your film is Avengers or the name of your film is Justice League. Then you need to make $1 billion. But no, I don't think it'll make as much as Rogue One. It'll do well. It's going to make money. It's going to be very profitable. But I don't see it joining the $1 billion club. Let's see. Nathan Oswald writes, which aspect ratio do you prefer, 1.85 or 2.35? Let me just make sure I'm... Let me just make sure I've got the right one in mind here. That's... I go probably 1.85. I think. Yes. Yeah. I'm going to go 1.85. I like the standard kind of film. The anamorphic stuff is nice and everything, but honestly, I find it just takes too much away from it, so I prefer 1.85. Royce Freeman writes, should politically incorrect subject matter be excluded from film because of today's charged climate, or should art be free to delve into all areas? Art should be free to delve into anything. Like, just because some people in the audience are idiotic enough to not understand the difference between art and real life, that shouldn't be the artist's concern. Anything should be free to examine and explore. If anything, art is the medium to explore those things. If you really want to explore certain topics or whatever, art is the place to do it. That's the place to explore that stuff. So, yeah, I completely believe nothing should be excluded as far as subject matter goes. Nothing should be excluded. Now, you as a filmmaker, you need to make the decision about, okay, I'd like to explore this. However, then you got to take the business considerations. Like, I don't know that anybody's going to come to watch this. And if nobody's going to come to watch this, then why bother trying to make it? Because no studio is going to finance it. Studio's all about making money. Every business is all about making money. There is no business that exists that is not about making money. So the business industry of the films is about making money. So you do have to ask yourself the question, does doing a topic about this, 2 questions, does it have artistic merit? And number two, can it be sustainable? Can it be profitable? Because this is still a business and somebody's got to make money. And if they're not going to make money, no one's going to give me the millions of dollars it's going to take for me to make this movie. So it's a balancing act. But on the pure spectrum of, should you be able to delve into and go into topics like that? Yes, you should. But now you got to find a way to do it that can still be marketable and still be sustainable and still be financially feasible. So it's a balancing act. It's not just one thing, it's a balancing act. The artistic merits and the business practicality of it. And if you can find a way to do it, absolutely, you should be able to do and explore anything. Josh writes, really, John, a talking stick in Superman Lives. Only reason I'm asking because I found a video of you talking about back 2006 that someone put up. I have no idea what we're talking about, Josh. So you got to give me more context than that. I have no idea what we're talking about. Hi, John, from Hans Gruber. Hey, John, if you Google Preek Stolen, you will find one of my country's natural gems. The new Mission Impossible movie will shoot an epic scene there. So I'm assuming that this Preek Stolen is a place? Is that what I'm gathering? Is that it's a place? The new Mission Impossible movie shoots an epic scene there. All right, I'm going to look it up because I got to tell you, man, this new Mission Impossible movie, the more I watch the trailers, I am just so sold on it. Like, I've seen now this trailer, that boom, boom, trailer that's been playing lately. Every time I see it on the screen, I get more and more psyched for this movie. Like, damn, that's a good trailer, man. That Mission Impossible trailer is a good trailer. And I'm getting more and more psyched. And a lot of it is they shoot these things internationally. They go around the world, much like a James Bond movie does, and get these breathtaking, cityscapes and natural scenery and all that kind of stuff. So this sounds interesting. I will check it out. Thanks for bringing it to my attention, Hans. All right. Donaldo Martinez writes, just watch Battlestar Galactica again, and it's still great. Which I should also mention, I had the pleasure to meet Mr. Edward James Olmos years ago. Very nice guy. I've also had the chance to meet Edward James Olmos. Super sweet dude. And just recently, he was in Narcos. He was in the last season of Narcos, which I love seeing. I love seeing him pop up in anything. That Battlestar Galactica that was created by Ronald Moore is my all-time favorite television show. Now, I often talk about my top 3 all-time favorite shows being Battlestar Galactica, Spartacus, and Sons of Anarchy. But that Battlestar Galactica is my all-time favorite. That's my number 1 spot. God, that show is so good. Just the way they handled mythology and like with mixing that with sci-fi action and mixing it with these great characters. And and Edward James Olmos as Adama was just killer. So yeah, I'm glad you had a chance to watch again. I haven't watched the series again in over a year. I got to sit down and watch it again because I pick up new things every time I watch that show. And I got to go back and watch it again. And if there's any of you guys who haven't watched the Ronald Moore Battlestar Galactica, watch it. It's only a few seasons. Like, it's not like a super long show. Binge it, watch it. I still contend the greatest television series of all time. I don't think anything else has come close, to be honest with you. I just love that series. I'm glad you had a chance to watch it again, Donaldo. All right. The number Thor writes, Avengers 4, Howard the Duck kills Thanos. Well, hey, maybe that's what it's all been set up for. It's all been leading up to this. That stupid duck. Stephen Meisel writes, best Canadian actor and or actress, stay golden, John. Ooh, like right now or all time? Because if you're going to talk if you're talking all time, you got to bring in, speaking of Battlestar Galactica, the original Adama, Lauren Green, who had like one of the longest running television series of all time, Battlestar Galactica, all this kind of, Lauren Green is one of the greats. Right now, best Canadian actor right now. Well, it's probably one of your Ryans, because both of them are amazing. Like Ryan Reynolds, Ryan Gosling. They're both incredible performers. Like, forget the Deadpool stuff. Like, Ryan Reynolds is a dramatic actor. Watch why am I forgetting the name? Is it Buried? I think the name of the movie is Buried. It's just him in a box 6 feet underground, and that's the whole movie. And oh my God, you want to see how good of an actor Ryan Reynolds is? Watch that movie. He should have been nominated for an Academy Award for that movie. Maybe not won, but he should have been nominated for that. But yeah, it's probably one of the two Ryans. And then, you know, Rachel McAdams has got to be in the conversation. Well, I love Rachel McAdams. There's a lot of great Canadian actors and actresses out there right now, but I'd say it's probably right now, today, you got to go with one of the Ryans. I'm just not sure which one right now. The number Thor writes, the better Han Solo performance, Alden from Solo or Harrison Ford in Force Awakens? Well, I mean, Harrison, look, it's an unfair question. Whenever you think of Han Solo, you're going to think of Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford not only was the prototype of Han Solo, Harrison Ford is the actor that defined what Han Solo was. So, again, that doesn't make him irreplaceable, but it means, like, to try to compare whatever somebody else brings to it, you're using that first actor as the measuring stick. So it's kind of like asking, who did Han Solo better? The actor who defined what it is to be Han Solo, or this other actor who's trying to live up to it? It's an impossible thing to ask. So, look, I think Alden Ehrenreich is great in Solo. I do. I think he is just flat out great as Han Solo. I think he's a wonderful Han Solo, but to compare him to the guy who defined what Han Solo is kind of like, it's folly. Like, it's a fool's errand. There's no point in even trying to compare the two because Harrison Ford defined what it is to be Han Solo. So it's hard to do that. Like, look, give Alden Ehrenreich 3 or 4 more films playing Han Solo if he ever gets a chance to do that. Then maybe we can have that conversation. But as of right now, you got to say the automatic answer to that is Han Solo. The automatic answer to that is Harrison Ford. So that's how I'll answer that for now. All right, Nathan Oswald writes, why have comedies declined in quality over the years? I don't know that they have. I think you've had some years with great comedies, some years with not so good comedies. Already this year, I've seen a couple of terrific comedies that I've just loved. So I don't know that I agree with the statement. I can't address, like, you can ask me, John, why is your t-shirt red? Well, I can't have that discussion with you because the t-shirt isn't red. I believe the t-shirt is black. So I can't really engage the conversation about why have comedies declined in quality. I don't necessarily think they have. So can't really go into that with you. TNS93 writes, quick question. How come you Canadians make the best or most memorable sci-fi TV shows? A jealous American would like to know. Well, I don't know that it's the Canadians make them. I think a lot of great sci-fi shows are made in Canada. Canada's a very friendly place for stuff like that to happen. But I don't know that that's, even as a Canadian, I don't know that I can say that that's necessarily true. Like, I don't know that it's necessarily true that Canada makes the best sci-fi stuff. We certainly make great sci-fi stuff there. But and we certainly do make some great sci-fi stuff, but I don't know that that's necessarily true. I appreciate the attempted compliment, but I don't know that that's necessarily true that we do. Let's see. Advith writes, but John, I've seen all 3 Star Wars original trilogy movies, but had no idea that Luke and Leia screwed in any of them. That's a little bit of a Deadpool reference. I won't go into it too much. I'll leave it for you guys to watch that, so I can't address that. But good observation, Advith. Dimsum05 writes, thoughts on channels that re-upload trailers? Yeah, I don't know what the point is. Like, there are some YouTube channels. I want to be careful here too, because I have friends who run YouTube channels and they do that. They take a trailer and just re-upload it. So I don't know how I feel about it. Like, look, number one, why would you do it? Because people can just find it on the regular, like the actual company that puts up the trailer. Why are you putting it up? Number two, it's fake views because, you know, I remember I was brought in once to consult. Yeah, I've actually done some consulting work. I was brought in once to consult with this company that had a YouTube channel, and they had X number of millions of views per month. But the problem is about 90% of those, like 3 million views a month, were coming from other people's content. Like, Oh, there's a trailer? Let's take that trailer and put it on our channel. Oh, somebody put up a video clip? Let's take that video clip and put it up on our channel. So yeah, they had like 3 million views a month, but it wasn't from their content. It was from somebody else's content. You were just hijacking views. So it creates this false sense of importance because, hey, if you think we got 3 million views a month, that's great. Oh, but none of them are for your content, or only like 5% is for your content, then you can't really say you get 3 million views a month. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, I can see the advantage of doing it. I don't think it's something I'd want to do. Like, I think early on, when we were all just trying to figure out how YouTube should really work, early on, I did it as well. Like when a trailer would drop, I would take the trailer and upload it to my channel. And it took me a while to realize and figure out that, you know what? Those views aren't really views for me. They're not my views. And somebody seeing a trailer on my channel is not going to make them subscribe to my channel. It's not going to make them subscribe to my channel. And, you know, I'll tell you this story. So the last place I worked, they already had a YouTube channel. They had a YouTube channel. They were doing very, very little original with it. But they were just, what they were doing was just grabbing clips from other movies and trailers from movies and then re-uploading it to their channel. And I remember when I was first going over there, one of the things I said to them was, first thing we're going to do is we're going to stop doing this. And the executive vice president of the company said, well, we can't do that. Look how many views we get. And I did some math. I said, okay, let me break this down for you. Here's a little video that you guys did that doesn't have a lot, like a ton of views, right? But it's your original video. And you got 1 new subscriber for every like 300 views on it. For every 300 views that video got, you got 1 new subscriber. On this Jurassic World clip that you guys put up, or Jurassic Park clip you guys put up, yeah, it got like, it's got 1.5 million views on it. Okay, that's good, but it's not your content. And you got 1 new subscriber for every like 30,000 views. This original thing, you got like 1 new subscriber for every 300 views on it. This one, you got 1 new subscriber for every 30,000 views on it. Which one of these 2 videos do you think is more valuable? Yeah, this one's got more views, but this one, your original one, that's getting 1 new subscriber for every 300 views because people are like, oh, this is the content you're creating. I'm going to subscribe. This one, with a ratio of 1 to 300, is far more valuable of a video to your YouTube channel than this one that's getting 1 new subscriber for every 30,000 views. And there it is. Somebody coming to this YouTube channel to see this Jurassic Park video, they're not more inclined to come back and visit the channel again because it's not your content. So I eventually got them to realize that, and I got them to accept that, and so we just went on making original content. So yeah, I mean, look, I don't think anything bad of any channel that wants to re-upload trailers. I don't think anything negative of it. I would just, you know, if I was one of the executives there, I would say, what real benefit is it to us? I mean, really, it's not, we're not contributing anything. It's not our creation. It's not anything unique from us. Plus, it's not going to bring in loads of subscribers or anything like that. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. I'm not really totally negative about it. I just don't see any positive to it either. So, hey, if a channel wants to do that, let them do it. I have no problem with it. I have no problem with it. So anyway, D. Walthers writes, let's see. And by the way, guys, I only have a couple minutes left here because Ann and I have to get out and go visit some family. D. Walthers writes, hey, John, how's that Iron Campea suit coming along? Just kidding. Glad to see spirits up. Will you do a tour of the new studio? Curious about your layout and work setup. Keep on keeping on. Well, I actually already did one, but it was for my Patreon supporters and for my team level Patreon supporters. So I gave them a quick tour around my office, showed them all the different gear I use. I'm going to do a more in-depth one for those, but hey, you know, I got to keep some stuff exclusive for my Patreon supporters. So I will put up a more in-depth one for my Patreon supporters, particularly my team level Patreon supporters, probably in the coming weeks, but that will probably be an exclusive for my Patreons, because some stuff I do has got to be exclusive for my Patreon supporters. But thank you for the question. Let's see here. And there's a jump. Holy crap, there's a lot of questions today. Wow. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So last couple of questions here. Curtis Lopez writes, one of my pet peeves is when someone says a reboot / remake / prequel ruined their childhood. Typical first world problems. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't. Here's the thing I've never understood about people who oppose reboots or anything like that. The original is still there. So I don't get it. I totally do not get it. Anybody who has, like, whenever I hear a problem, oh, I don't want them to touch that. Why? Why don't you want them to make a remake of it? What on earth is the downside? Will ruin the... No, it won't. There was a study done, and I used to talk about this before, right? But, like, for instance, take, for a couple of movies, like The Grudge, and which is a remake of an Asian film, and take The Departed, which is a remake of my all-time favorite cop film, Infernal Affairs, which is also an Asian film. There was a study done that showed more people went and watched the originals of those because remakes were done. So you see, totally the opposite to it hurting the original. Putting out remakes actually helps the original, even if the remake isn't so good. And if the remake turns out to be good, then yay, we have another good movie we can celebrate. If it's bad, oh well, it's bad. But hey, at least it brought more attention to the originals and more people went to check it out. These have been studies that have been done. Go check them out. So when people, like, the remakes are done of old classic movies, popular movies, it actually puts a spotlight back on those movies and more people actually go and check them out than they would have if the remake never got done. So even if the remake sucks, the original's still there. It doesn't affect anything about the original. It's still there. And it's still okay. And nothing bad happens to it. So yeah, I've never understood that either. Styler Manu writes, hey John, did you watch The Royal Wedding? I did not, but true story. True story. Hey Anne? I don't know if she can hear me. She's here in the house right now. But so I wake up this morning and turn over to my wife and I'm like, come here a second. If you're not naked. Okay, so come on in here, baby. For those of you who don't know, this is, you're walking funny because you got one shoe on. This is my wife, Anne. So Styler Manu just asked me, John, did you watch The Royal Wedding this morning? And I was just about to tell the story, this great story, about how, you know, when I wake up in the morning, one of my favorite things about opening my eyes is I get to see my lovely wife. And I turn over to my lovely wife. I'm like, good morning, baby. And she's like, I'm like, okay. She looks like she's in a little bit of a mood this morning. And I'm like, so, honey, do you want to watch maybe? Because she loves the Royals. Oh my God, she loves the Royals. So I say to her, and I'm wondering, why is she in such a bad mood? I'm like, do you want to get up and maybe watch some of the Royal Wedding stuff? I did! Why do you think I'm so tired? I was up till 5 in the morning watching Royal Wedding stuff.
So true.
It's true. She got up, she stayed up till 5 in the morning to watch Royal Wedding stuff. I, on the other hand, slept right through it.
Totally worth it.
But apparently,
Totally worth.
But I said, was it good? She goes, it was so wonderful. But anyway, yeah. So there's the stuff. The reason we're getting ready to leave. So thanks for coming in. So anyway, yes. So anyway, where was I? So I did not watch it, but she did. And yeah, I'll be ready to go in a few minutes, baby. All right, let's move on to the next one. Toonie2 writes, hey, John, very sad that there's no Star Wars talk anymore, but I understand your point. There is a lot of toxic fandom out there. It makes me sad. It makes me, I mean, I can't even begin to put into words how devastating it is to me. seeing how toxic and brutal and cancerous the fandom has become, quite frankly, being encouraged. It's also really, really sad because not only have I always loved the fan community, I've loved the online community as well for a very long time. And seeing another YouTube channels and websites and blogs that literally promote the toxicity and encourage people to be toxic, that's actually kind of sad to me. And it's discouraging to me, and it's disheartening to me to see that. But it is what it is, and, you know, they wanted to ruin things for certain people, and congratulations. Like, that's your life mission, is to ruin things for people. Well done. Congratulations. Way to go. You ruined my enjoyment of the Star Wars fan community. Didn't ruin my enjoyment of Star Wars, but you ruined my enjoyment of the Star Wars fan community. So good job. Way to go, guys. I hope that makes you feel good about yourselves. Danny Brown writes, what's more scary, the first Death Star or the threat of the second one? Ooh. You know, I would think it would probably be the second one. And here's why. Because you know what you went through to get the first one destroyed, and it would seem all that more daunting the second time around. It would seem all that more daunting. So I would say the second one. Okay, final question of the day, and then I got to go get ready to leave, guys. And don't worry, guys, all the live questions that got sent in that I don't get to, don't worry about it. I will put up a companion video tomorrow morning of all these questions that got sent in that I didn't have time to get around to. So don't worry about it. First thing, like 5 a.m. tomorrow morning, I will put up a companion video to get through all the questions that you guys have sent in that I did not have time to get around to this morning live. So, final questions today. Do you want to see Steve and Sharon together in A4? I really don't care about romantic relationships in comic book movies very much at all. So, honestly, sure, if you want to, like, I'm all for it if you do. I will admit I'd be more curious to see more development with Bruce and Black Widow, but I don't know that they're going to have any time to do romantic relationships in Avengers 4. I think they're going to have far too much to do. But if they wanted to do one, then sure, I'd be all for that. I do like the Steve Rogers and Sharon relationship. I do. And if you wanted to do that, fine. But if Avengers 4 is anything like Avengers 3, which was way overstuffed, then no. Keep the romantic stuff out of it. Just keep on focus and keep on point. All right, guys. That will do it for today's installment of Open Mic. Thank you so much for joining me once again for all the live questions I had sent in that I didn't have time to get to. I will put that up in a companion video first thing in the morning. So I'm going to go see Deadpool 2 again this afternoon, which is a good way for me to remind you that tomorrow, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Ann and I are doing a open Deadpool 2 spoiler discussion. It will go about 45 minutes to an hour. Come on in, join us for that. Should be a lot of fun. Gives you another day to go out and see Deadpool 2 as well. So that'll do it for me, guys. Thanks so much for joining me. My name's John Campea, and until the next video, bye-bye.